right? You gaslight your staff to perform better. People do that, right?
Yes.
You jumpstart them, threatening them with a couple of things. Your job will go. You have a pay cut. You have this. You have that. If
Mm.
you do exact same thing to the people you love, your family members, your wife, or your kids, then you're a narcissist. Don't let environment pressurize you, because all you do is that you become a shadow of yourself, right? You could win in quotes, but you have lost every other thing. The strength of a man is in his masculinity, and the strength of a woman is in her femininity, right? And what we have seen in the workforce over the past 15, 20 years is that the business environment or the work environment, because it's masculine driven, the females now have to become masculine to compete.
Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to my podcast show, Men's Talk Town. And as you all know, what I discuss on the show is about men's views or perspective about women. So, the idea here is to create a safe space for women. And in the series of podcasts, I have another eminent personality here with me, Dr. Emiri Eguna. Hi, welcome.
Thank you very
Welcome,
much.
everyone.
Thank you very
Right.
much.
So
Good to
it's
be.
absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And like before, we just move into the actual start of the podcast. I'm quickly going to introduce you in few lines. So Dr. Emery Agunwa is a business strategist and human capacity development expert with almost 2 decades of experience garnered in strategy, creativity intelligence, and management positions. He has led over 600 business leaders and organizations to remarkable success through his executive coaching platform and bespoke learning interventions to organizations in various industries. He has an extensive track record of leading strategic business transformation initiatives across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and Australia. With his 17 years of extensive experience in various facets of business consultancy and transformations, his ability to navigate complex challenges and drive positive change has earned him recognition on both national and international scales. And not to forget that he is a managing partner of HG&W, a global creative intelligence consulting firm operating in Australia, UK, and Nigeria. So, wow, that's a pretty impressive profile, and absolute, pleasure and honor to have you here on the show today.
Thank you.
Uh, Yes. So, can you quickly, just in 2-3 minutes, tell us about your work profession before we dive down into the questions?
So my work as a management and business consultant is to help businesses that are positioned for market leadership and market leadership primarily, yeah. And that ultimately deals with framework around people, frameworks around technology, frameworks around strategy. Strategy is the major thing that we sell. We plot strategies that would assist companies become major players globally. So the
Okay.
easiest way to define what we do is that take it like a hospital for businesses, right? So some businesses, so some people are sick, they get to hospital. The same way businesses are sick, they come to us. They want to figure out what's wrong with their system. They come to us, and we pretty much work across all boards. Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
do as an
So,
organization.
so if I understand correctly, you help businesses grow by strategizing for them.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. That's a great work. And I think it's pretty difficult as well because you need to know the organization levels, its complexities, its work, product, services, everything. So wonderful. And that's amazing. All right. So coming back to our topic, men's talk town. So the first question is, who are all the women around you?
God, I'm a ladies man, right? So I got lots of ladies around me. I got,
Okay.
I got my, obviously my mom is a woman, and
Mm-hmm.
my wife is a woman, and I got sisters, I got two daughters,
Okay.
and pretty much surrounded by females in many sense of it.
Mhm. Right. And at workplace too, I believe.
At our
So
workplace, we've got 44% of our workforce are females, right? We believe a lot in inclusion and equal opportunity for both genders.
So, like growing up with your sisters and females around, How has been your experience? Were you discriminated from them or something like that? How was the growing up days?
It's all not pretty much. Growing up was never about gender. It was about siblings, right? There was never the line between the whole male female dichotomy, right? But one thing was it's pretty clear what I call gender roles. Yeah, it's pretty much amplified. So we know what females are expected to do and what males are expected to do, and that's not meaning that one is superior to the other. It just means they're all complementary to each other, right?
I think that's a very good thing you said, that it's not about superiority about one gender and the other. It's about whatever work you're doing. However, was it ever, you felt like as a male you were given more certain kind of responsibilities and vis-a-vis your sisters? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. It's not compulsory. It was like that. How was it for you?
How was it for me with my sisters?
Yes. Or cousins or whoever, like what kind of work and all, how you used to support them? Did you encourage them? And
So it's important to note that the sisters that I have are my eldest elder ones, right? So
okay.
if
So you
anybody,
were the pampered one?
yes, if anybody was supported, I was the one that was supporting them in many ways, right? It's not the other way around. But yeah, it's not the other way around. I've been a lot more protected by my sisters and,
Yes.
um, and my elder brother too. So
Oh.
pretty much, yeah, not the other way around. I was supported by them growing up.
Oh. So you've been really lucky, and I think it's a very great feeling, when you have those elder sisters or brother, and those are very protective around you. So, like now at your workplace, when you have these females around you, or when you work, as you grow, you go to, higher colleges and higher studies, and then you start working subsequently. Now that you visit companies, how do you think that you are able to encourage or support the females in your at your workplace?
I've always believed that one thing I always tell all the females. I remember when we decided to hire a lot more females in our organization, right? One of the most difficult things to do in my business is what is this the office of the CEO, right? Is you have to take responsibility for all outcomes of decisions made under your watch. And so I remember when we decided to increase our female workforce significantly, make you say 40% of our workforce has females, and it could have been more really, because over time we have realized that the females tend to deliver a lot more better. And the only reason why we still have lots of males is that the nature of our job requires lots of traveling and shuttling from one country to the other and being at organizations and meeting rooms, strategy sessions till late at night, which for me, I do not think I want to expose lots of ladies to, right? Be overly stressing themselves. I think an average lady in this world has got lots of things to deal with. You know, without they're dealing with competence, they're dealing with societal expectations, they're dealing with looking after their children if they have any, and their expectations at home, and much more than that, they're dealing with hormonal changes every now and then, right? They're dealing with their menstrual cycle. There's a lot going on where a lady is, and you don't want to load them up with a lot more tasks. Then it's that being completely insensitive, in my opinion. So that's it. So it's pretty much I've always believed in having women inclusion, and one thing I always say to ladies is that um, in the nature of being in the business world, I think uh, it's always easier to get a no for a man, but for a woman, you always get a yes. I think my greatest assets in my business are the ladies in the company. They work wonders. They perform miracles all the time. You know, they know how to work their way, competence wise, and the time management, and execute like professionals in many sense. And If it's something within my capacity, I would push it up to 60% of our workforce to be females.
Okay, so I think it's a very, very positive thing you said that having more women workforce. And what I really liked about when you mentioned about, their that women have to deal a lot with other things, apart from their work, their physical changes, hormonal things, and menstrual cycles, and so many other things, which men, I don't think either they realize at times or they are not very outspoken about it. So in society, at times in different societies, I would say it acts differently. So that is one aspect which needs to be kept in mind for sure. And as you said that you have a certain percentage of female workforce, so do you have a kind of rules, certain rules with respect to their working timings or safety or anything of that sort at your workplace?
Absolutely. So first is that my organization we design workplace effectiveness. So it's one of the things we do. And while you're designing for clients, you also need to design it for yourself. And one of the things we believe is that whether you're male or female, nobody is supposed to be as aspirated working for the company. You don't want to push people to the limit. You don't want to push them to the wall. You don't want to create a work environment. But much more, one of the things I always say is that we're one of the few companies, not one of the few companies, there are a lot of companies globally, but I tell you, the sexualization of females do not happen in our organization. And we try to look at everybody based on competence first. And but we make policies to protect everybody. So the protection is not primarily to the female gender. We believe that everybody is equally important. So, but one of the things we do is when it comes to overtime, working pretty late. If a lady wants to, we don't normally want to have all ladies in the office. Not to say they're not capable enough, but we also want to make sure that they are protected and in
Yes,
many ways, right?
yes,
So pretty
yes,
much that we prioritize everyone's well-being and want everybody to be all right in the
that's
organization.
great, that's great, that's wonderful. Okay, so like in India, we have something called as POSH, that is Prevention of Sexual Harassment against Women, and this kind of law is, mandatory for every company. So, do you have any such laws over there in your country?
So like, once again, the business is multi. It's not domiciled in one country. Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, we're thinking of coming having a little inroad to India, and what it means that we respect the laws of every land where we are, and even if the laws of the land does not completely accommodate our policies on females, we protect them for us, right? So we are, but interestingly, we're in Australia where the laws protect females. We're in the United Kingdom where the laws protect females. In Nigeria too, the laws protect females, and in the Middle East, the laws um, protect females. Yeah, pretty much. So we try to latch on to the national policy on female protection. I would do that.
Yes, because my next question was the same thing, that since you're operating in multiple countries, across globe, so when your team members, female team members, they travel abroad or across, so how do you ensure they are all, safe and but in particularly there is no untoward incidents or so? So it's all taken care of, and how do you do that?
Oh, like I said, we do not, as much as I like the ladies and I do like that they are part of the system, but we do prioritize every member of staff. Um, we prioritize every member of staff. We make sure that flight arrangements, hotel accommodations are pretty much secured and well rated in such a way that they are not exposed. I don't think we've got anybody in our team that is high security needs that we need to have advanced security measures to protect. We don't
No,
have
no,
that,
no.
right?
Okay.
But we make sure that everybody is all right. And one thing we always say is much the company can do everything for you, but we also want you to prioritize your own safety as a people. do that, and read the environment and know how you expose yourself unduly, right? And be not to expose yourself unduly, and make sure that you're safe at all times, right?
So yes, that is always there. And like, what do you feel? What do you think that these qualities of women, which are exceptional, which men should adapt at times?
I put it this way, right? Uh, the women that I've worked with.
Or okay, okay. I'll also interrupt and say vice versa. I mean, even the females should have these. They can take certain qualities of men. Either ways.
So one thing I always believe is that uh, a female has a lot more um, um, feminine outlook, and a man has a lot more masculine outlook. And this might not be very popular opinion. What I'm about to share right now
Okay.
might not be very popular opinion, but I've always said the strength of a man is in his masculinity, and the strength of a woman is in her femininity, right? And what we have seen in the workforce over the past 15, 20 years is that the business environment or the work environment, because it's masculine driven, the females
Mhm.
now have to become masculine to compete. So an average female executive or an average female top performer in the business um, looks masculine. Okay, right? She dresses with suits. She looks too. There's nothing soft about her right now. And I always say this: you cannot compete with a man in his masculinity and win. Right? You cannot, and that's why some of them consider the workplace toxic, because you now want to become a man to win, compete over a man, but it's never going to happen, right? The same way I can't decide now to compete with my feminine energy and I beat a feminine woman. Never. It cannot happen, right? You will know that I'm forcing it. You know that. In fact, it's disgusting when you see a man acting feminine. It's
Hmm.
disgusting both to the man and to the female. And I always say that's the same energy when a woman is completely masculine is disgusting to a man, right? Because we're not competing, we're just different. I appreciate your strength, and your strength is 100%, and mine is 100%. But one has to come from a place of masculine energy, and one has to come from a place of feminine energy. There are battles in the business environment, or there are business deals or competitions that you need to win. You have to read the room to know at this point we're going to send a male, or at this point we're going to send a female. All are important to the complete completeness of the business, right? So, what I said is not very popular opinion is that whenever a woman is in the workplace, she thinks she has to take the masculine traits, which is which is uh, which could be. I'm trying to choose my words very well.
That's
Right?
fine. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Which could be a little bit approach could be a little bit aggressive, depending. And there's the choice of words are different, right? The postures are different, and the color codings are different, right? And the same way, if I show up in a meeting, let's ask this question: if I show up in a meeting in a bright red suit, you won't take me serious,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you won't take me serious, right? Because you're wondering what's going on with this bloke. Why is he wearing a red suit? And the same way, if a female wants to show up, there are a couple of colors that amplify who she is. She doesn't need to play soft. Black is a universal color, but after that, you could play around with what brings out the real you and not what makes you um, want to sound tough, right? And it's just few things that I have come to put out. Like I always mention, I tell my ladies in the office, I tell them, no matter what you do, never forget to put on your heels, right? Because it amplifies your feminine nature. It amplifies your feminine nature. Take our time, amplify your feminine nature. If it's something within your capacity, have your hair come down a little bit. If it's something within your capacity, if it's something, not to say that it's all stereotype, it could be anything, but be graced as a lady, right? The same way if I come into corporate meetings and I'm wearing a very long hair, you're not going to take me this serious, right? Now, this might not be stereotypes, but I said there are a couple of things that could happen. Then, when it comes to competencies that are expected, I believe all human beings should be able to be diligent, excellent, have integrity, be productive, put in hard work, think, be logical and emotional at the same time. And but I always say, all the time that the business have had empathy towards things, it's been the females, right? An average man is
Yes.
not very empathetic when it comes, but you see, it's the blend that makes life beautiful, right? And that's how we say it. Sorry, I hope I didn't overdo it for you.
No, 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 no. It's perfectly fine. See, it's individual opinion, and it's perfectly all good. What even I was trying to think is when you spoke about the dressing aspect. So nowadays, the females do have this. It's called as power dressing, where they do dress up in westernized clothes or more of suits and shirts and pants and whatever. However, I again think that when you mentioned about certain qualities, I feel that when at workplace or at certain places, the females, they have to prove themselves multifold with respect to a man to get the same position. If they are, they lag behind, or they are too lenient, they are not taken seriously. So that aspect of that aggression, or as you mentioned, some qualities they have to at times display to be there in the group, because if you have to move ahead, I mean that's just a, I would say, an opinion also, and because having known women and having part of different groups, I've heard this a lot, that despite of having those qualities, I don't get a promotion. I am not considered for it. Being a female, that you will again take leaves, and you will do this and you will do that. So a lot of restrictions keep coming up, and for the same reason, they have to prove themselves multifold in this for the same position. So yes, however,
Just
as you said,
flip
correct,
it.
yeah.
To flip it. I
Okay.
always say
Okay.
this. Just to flip it. If the person in power, if the superior of the lady is a lady, does she need to act tough?
Hmm. Yes, at times,
No.
yes.
So if the person that
It depends. It
actually,
depends.
that's it.
Okay.
Then I always
Hmm.
say this, and this is the beautiful thing about life, right? I always that life is quite an interesting thing, right? The principles are universal. Do
Hmm,
not
yes.
let the circumstances pressurize you to
Yes,
become
yes.
who you are not,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Don't let environment pressurize you, because all you do is that you become a shadow of yourself, right? You could win in quotes, but you have lost every other thing, right? And all I'm saying is, whenever it comes to ladies in the workplace, is do you know who you are? Do you know what your strengths are? Right? Don't make someone else feel that something like this. Can I just take 2 minutes to say this? There's something in life that we call, I call it the wealth equity tools, right? Everybody came into this life with something that is their access to wealth, right?
Yes.
Wealth is not naturally or necessarily money, but something that gives you your influence or your competence, right?
Quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's something that we need to take our time to rediscover, because no matter how much, even if I'm surrounded by singers, I do not have a great voice to sing,
Yes.
right? And if I'm
Yes.
surrounded by singers and they want to push me to become a singer, you can't measure my competence based on that, right?
Absolutely.
And if everybody around is a cricket player or a footballer, you can't measure my competence with that, because that's not who I am, right? And then where you could have your competence in cooking and somebody else's competence in everywhere. All you do is the amalgamation of all this stuff defines who you are. Now, if the environment does not support who you are, you have two jobs. Number one job is to make that environment accept who you are. And number two job is to work out with your head held high. But if you say that you became toxic, you became this, you became domineering, you became
Mm,
everything that you dislike in a man, so that you can compete with a man in an office
yes.
or compete in the masculine driven environment,
Mm,
ultimately you
true.
might get a position of the CEO, of the vice president, or anything, but you lose yourself, right?
That's true.
You lose yourself. You lose yourself in the things that matter to you. Some days you wake up, you don't even know what your favorite colors are, because it used to be pink when you were a girl, but it has to become black to compete in Wall Street. Now
Right.
you used to love how to hang out in Bali or go to nice resort for holidays, but now you have chosen New York. Everything is different, and that's why you see lots of people come in, they lose themselves. They get some lose their marriages, some lose their kids, some lose their friends, some lose everything. But because the world we live in is not a forgiving environment, they still measure success based on career and financial accomplishment
Yes,
alone,
absolutely.
right? But
Absolutely.
pretty much everybody, including the males that we look up to, have lost pretty much everything too in trying to be who they are not. Some people are not supposed to be forceful. Their strength as a man is to use logic to get things going, but their expectation in their role has to be forceful. And the more they do it, they adopt that thing and they become forceful to the people they shouldn't. And now we're seeing the word being thrown around. It's called being a narcissist, right? Now, when people throw about being a narcissist, all we're saying is the
Yes.
qualities of a narcissist is the qualities of surviving in the business world, just in case people do not know.
Oh, yes.
What makes it is that when you use those qualities for the environment, for the business
Right.
world, and use it to the people you love, then you become a narcissist,
Yes.
right? So, how do you switch from being um, the competencies to survive? Is also toxic for men,
Very true.
because in the business environment there are meals that will come, there are things that would happen. The job of the CEO is to pay no regard to it, don't even pay attention to it. You block off any sense of emotion. Now when you do that thing to the people you love, you're a narcissist,
True.
right? When you in the game of winning in the corporate world, you have to do what they call corporate gaslighting, right? You gaslight your staff to perform better. People do that, right?
Yes.
You jumpstart them, threatening them with a couple of things. Your job will go. You have a pay cut. You have this. You have that. If
Hmm.
you do exact same thing to the people you love, your family members, your wife, or your kids, then you're a narcissist. So
Right.
it's not even just toxic for females. It's toxic for both
Toxic
gender.
for me. Yes,
But
absolutely.
interestingly, the people who feel the brunt the most are females.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I
So,
was
no, 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 that's perfectly fine. And very good points I think you have brought out. That's wonderful. So, one last question is that what one message you want to give to the male fraternity so that, we create a safe space for women? That is, what is that one point? Males can, create an environment.
just let the females be females. Don't force them to be males.
Okay. So, you are
Right?
there. You are, I
Just
mean,
force
that's
them to
the
become
underlying
somebody.
point.
Yes.
That's the
If they
underlying
come into the office and they wish to put in a little bit of flour on their desk, by all
point.
means, put on a flour. It's a
Okay.
feminine
I
thing.
mean, you were sending a message that let them be as they are, natural,
Yeah,
and accept them as they are, and support them as they are.
absolutely.
So, yes, I think then it goes for both the genders. Even the females should accept males as they are and not push too much of each other's boundaries. So I think, Emiri, that thank you so much. It was wonderful, wonderful talking to you, and you have brought a lot of different perspective towards this particular podcast. And I'm really thankful to you for giving your time. And thanks a lot.
Thank you.